Hello guys and welcome to my channel Knowledge Resurrection. Today we are going to learn CATIA V5 software. This software is used in almost every automotive company in design and assembly of various components. And I'm going to explain everything from the basics so even a beginner can understand it perfectly. Okay, so let's start. So when you open your CATIA V5 application, the interface will look something like this. Okay, now here this thing is called the main menu and we are going to start part designing first. We are going to learn this tutorial in this manner. First we are going to learn about how to sketch, then we are going to learn about part modeling, and then we are going to learn that how you can assemble those parts, that is assembly. So see here in the main menu, if you click on start, you can get all these features which CATIA provides. So we are going to here use mechanical design and part design first. Okay, so we are going to click on this part. Now here it is coming enter part name. So you can enter whatever the name you want of your part. Okay, I am going to set it as part 1 only. Click OK. So the interface will look something like this to you now. Now see, I know there are so many tools, but don't get freaked out by this because it is very easy to understand, and I will explain you all these tools one by one. Okay, in a very basic manner. So let's start. On the left hand side, top left side, here you can see a tree, branch tree, which tells you like this is our part 1 and this is xy plane, yz plane, zx plane. As you highlight xy plane, see there is a blue highlight coming on these planes. Okay, so you can know which plane is this. This is yz plane. Okay, it is highlighted in orange color when I click on this plane. Okay, so now we are going to start sketching. So to start sketching, we have to select this tool. This is called sketch tool. Okay, now I'm clicking sketch tool. Now where you want to sketch, you have to select a plane to sketch. So I'm suppose selecting xy plane to sketch. When you select xy plane to sketch, the screen will come normal to the xy plane, and this is the sketching screen. Now here see, these are all the tools available for sketching in this portion of the window. Okay, now you can also drag these tools into your screen. Like this is operations, you can click here and drag this into screen. This is profile, this is constraint tools. Okay, and you can put it back together also. So this is up to you how you want to arrange your tools. Okay, I'm gonna set it as like this. Okay, it doesn't matter. So let's see. First of all, let's understand all these tools one by one. So this is the profile tool. Okay, now let's click on this tool. Now what profile tool does is when you click a point, it comes a line. When you click, the line ends. Now again you click, another line comes. Okay, so in this way you can make a profile of your own choice by clicking and creating lines. Okay, now when you want to end it in a closed loop, just click on the starting point. So here it become a closed profile. Okay, so this profile tool helps you to create a profile of your desired geometry or whatever you want. Now let's move to another tool, but before moving to another tool, I want to tell you one more important thing: how you can drag by using mouse, how you can zoom, and how you can rotate your planes. Okay, so let's see how you can drag the screen. So for dragging, you have to click the scroll button of your mouse. Click the scroll button of your mouse and move the mouse. So in this way you can drag any part of your screen. Okay, keep the scroll button clicked. Okay, now to rotate your part, what you have to do is you have to click the scroll button and you have to right click and you have to press the right click button. Okay, so your circle will come look like something like this. Now you have to rotate your mouse. Keep holding the scroll button and right click button. So in this way you can rotate. Okay, now what if you want to zoom? For zooming, what you have to do is keep clicking the scroll button. Okay, hold the scroll button and just click the right mouse button. Just click it once. Okay, like this. So see, the cursor has become an arrow, up down arrow. Now if you move your mouse up, it will zoom. If you move your mouse down, it will zoom out. Okay, so once again, for dragging, keep holding the scroll button of the mouse and drag your mouse. If you want to rotate, keep holding a scroll button and keep holding the right click button. Okay, and then you can rotate. If you want to zoom, just keep holding the scroll button and then press the right mouse button once and then move your mouse up and down. In this way you can zoom in or zoom out. Okay, if this seems harder for you, then here are the other options what you can use. Here see, this is plus and minus sign is the given. So if you click plus, it will zoom in. If you click minus, it will zoom out. And this thing is called normal view. So if you click this, it will come normal. The plane will come normal to your screen. Okay, and if you want to select an isometric view or any other view, you can select from here. See, this is an isometric view, this is front view, this is back view. So I want to select isometric view, so this is the isometric view. Okay, now let's get back to the normal view. Okay, now see, here the tree is coming, so I've created a part body. If I click on this plus symbol, here a sketch is coming, sketch 1. This is my sketch 1 what I've created. So whatever I am creating here will show in this tree in a sequenced manner. Okay, let's move to another tool. Okay, if you want to delete this tool, if you want to delete this sketch, then you can just select the whole sketch and press delete button. Okay, now I am dragging the screen. Okay, now let's see these options. This is rectangle, so let's see how you can make a rectangle. Click on the rectangle. Okay, now see, here also there are different types of rectangle. Okay, so let's see, this is the basic rectangle which I clicked. So if you click the rectangle, what you can do is you can click on any point in screen and then move your mouse, so a rectangle will be formed like this. If you click again, the rectangle will be formed. Okay, it will be done, the rectangle has been made. Okay, so in this way there are various types of rectangle. This is rectangle, this is oriented rectangle, this is parallelogram. Let's see what an oriented rectangle is. Okay, I have selected the oriented rectangle. Now if you click once, okay, and if you click once again, one side of a rectangle is formed. Now if you move your mouse, you just have to choose the length of the rectangle and the rectangle will be formed. Look how it is oriented. It is an angle to the x-axis. Okay, so this is an oriented rectangle. So here various types of rectangles, parallelograms are there. You can try each feature by your own. It's very simple to understand. Let's see what a hexagon is. Okay, so hexagon, what you have to do is click a point. Okay, now move your mouse, a hexagon will be created. Click once again and you have created a hexagon. It's that simple. Okay, now this is important feature, centered rectangle. Centered rectangle, what it does is, let's see. So if you click on a point, this point is known as the center of the rectangle what you're going to create. Now let's move your mouse. See, that point is the center, and now you are moving the rectangle away from the center. Okay, just click here, a random size rectangle has been formed from the center. Okay, now this is center point rectangle parallelogram. Okay, same feature. Now what you have to do if you want to constrain this rectangle, if you want a rectangle of a fixed size, of a desired size of your own. Okay, suppose I want this side to be some value which you want your value. Okay, so for that constraint you have to click this option. This is called constraint. Click on this constraint and select this side. So it is coming, click once again, so it is coming 82.509. What if I want this to be 50? Just double click on this 82.509 and you can change this value to your desired value. I am typing 50 and clicking OK. So this side has become 50 centimeter. Now this centimeter and mm, how do you know? So first you have to check the unit. Okay, this is the important thing. Whenever you are starting a sketch, first check what unit you are into. Okay, so for that click on tools, then click on options. Okay, now this options window is coming. Wait for a second. Okay, so this options window is coming. Now what you have to do is you have to select this parameters and measure window. Okay, if it is in general, what you have to do is you have to select this parameters and measure. Okay, click here. Now this window will come. Now click on units. Okay, so see here length millimeter is selected. Okay, if you want to change, you can change it from here. So I want millimeter only. Okay, so click OK. So what is this 50? This 50 is 50 mm. Okay, again you want to constrain this side, so click on constraint, select this side and you can constrain it. If you want to change the value, just double click and type whatever value you want. Suppose I want 20 and click OK or press enter. So I have made a rectangle of length 50 and height 20. Okay, in this way you can constrain, and whenever you want to constrain, you have to click constraint and then click on the side. If you want to constrain this side, then you have to click constraint and then this side. But what if I want to constraint at the same time, means I don't want to press constraint again and again. So what you can do is you can lock this tool. So to lock this tool, just double click it. This tool has been locked. Now all you have to do is select the side and constraint, select the side and constraint it, select the side and constraint, select the side and constraint. In this way, this is the faster process. Okay, and if you want to deselect it, just click it again or press escape. Now I'm selecting this all and I'm pressing the delete button to clear my screen. Okay. Okay, let's move to the next tool. This is what? This is a circle. Circle is also simple. Just click once again. Okay, this is the center of the circle. Now move your mouse. Okay, a circle has been made. Now what if you want this circle to be of a certain diameter or of a certain radius? So for that, defining the constraint, you have to click constraint. Okay, and click the circle. See, D is coming. D 86.64. D is diameter. Click once. Okay, now if you want this diameter to be 100, double click here and type 100 here, 100 mm. Okay, so circle for 100 mm has been created now. Okay, let's see other tools. What is this? This is 3-point circle. 3-point circle is nothing but you have to choose 3 points on a circle. So when I click once, this is my first point. When I click second, this is my second point. And third point, basically you decide the radius of the circle. So when you click again, this is a 3-point circle which you have made by choosing 3 points on the plane. And the one more important thing is arc. Okay, you can also try the rest of the tools. It's very simple. You just have to click and try. I am telling you the important ones. So let's see what an arc does. Okay, so I have clicked once in the screen. A circle is coming. Okay, because my arc will be a part of this circle, that's why circle is coming. I click once again. Okay, now let's see. Move your mouse and you can make an arc of your desired length. Okay, what if I want the radius of arc to be a specific value? So I can click here constraint and I can fix this value, the radius of the arc. Suppose I want this to be 10, so I'm clicking here, I am pressing the value 10, enter. So this is my 10 radius arc. Okay, now this is spline. Spline is basically a curved line. Okay, like this. Just keep clicking the mouse and move your mouse. Okay, keep clicking the left button and move your mouse. In this way you can create a spline of your desired shape. Okay, if you want to close the spline, then click on again, end it on the starting point. Okay, and press escape if you want to come out of the spline tool, like this. Okay, now what is this? This is ellipse. Ellipse is basically nothing but if you click a point and if you click a point. Okay, 2 points on a plane. So this will be the length of the ellipse. Okay, this side of the ellipse. What about the height? You can adjust the height by moving mouse up and down. Okay, so I'm adjusting the height by moving mouse up and down. Now this is a random ellipse. Okay, I want this to be of a specific size. Okay, so what I'm doing, I'm again choosing a constraint. Now I can choose this length of the ellipse. Okay, I'm let it be 100 mm. Okay, so I'm typing 100, enter. Now I want the height also to be of my desired value, so I'm clicking this point and this point, suppose. So the height will be, okay, I'm double clicking, I'm typing 50. The height is 50 mm. So this is a circle. Why? Because the length and the height is equal, 100, and the height it is also 100. So the ellipse has become a circle. In this way you can decide. Okay, also if I type like 25, 25, okay, now it looks more like ellipse. So in this way you can make any shape of your desired size. Okay, by clicking the constraint button here. Okay, now let's again clear the screen. Okay, you can also select all these other tools like parabola, hyperbola, conic section. Okay, so you can try this on your own. It's nothing, not a big deal. Okay, let's see the line tool. Click on the line tool. Line tool is simple. Click once, it is the starting of line. Click again, it is the end of the line. Okay, let's see what are other lines options available. Infinite line is nothing but an infinite line on the screen. So suppose you want this horizontal line, so you just have to click once, a horizontal line will be created. What if you want a vertical line? Click on this line tool and see here V is coming vertical, so click on this V vertical line, so you can get a vertical line here. Okay, also if you just undo any tool or undo any process, just press Ctrl Z, Ctrl Z, Ctrl Z, Ctrl Z. Okay, so in this way you can try different types of lines also. What is this? This is axis, or you can call this reference line. So call it reference line also. So an axis, you can just, is a line, is a dotted line basically, like this. It is used for a reference to something, to draw something. So this is a axis. This is how you can draw axis. Okay, so let's clear the screen once again. And this is simply a dot or a point. Okay, it does nothing but it puts a point on a plane. Okay, Let's delete this. Okay, now let's move forward. These are the basic tools of the sketching process. You will require these tools to draw any desired shape or desired profile. Okay, so now let's move forward and let's take one more step, like study these tools. We are going to study these tools: corner, chamfer. Okay, these ones. This one is for constraint. Okay, this one we have already done it, these things. Now we are going to use these things. Okay, these are also important things. What is this? This is corner. What is corner? Let me tell you. Suppose I draw a centered rectangle here. A centered rectangle I have drawn. Okay, now what I am doing is I am choosing this side. I am holding the control key and I am also choosing this side. Now I am pressing the corner button, corner tool here. Okay, so what it does is it gives a fillet to the corner. Okay, like this. You can give a fillet to a corner of your desired radius. You can change this radius, double click it and put the whatever value you want. Okay, so the corner tool, what it does is it gives a fillet to the corner of a rectangle or of any corner of a particular profile, like this. And this is what this is: chamfer. Chamfer is nothing but if you click these two lines, it will provide a straight line between them. Okay, fillet is a curved and chamfer is a straight line, like this. You can also change the angle of the chamfer and the size of the side which is chamfered from here. Okay, now let's again once again delete this profile. Now I am choosing this profile tool and I am drawing some random profile like this. Okay, any random profile you can create. Okay, like this. I created a random profile. Now I am going to see this tool. This is called trim tool. Okay, trim tool. Here it is coming trim. Okay, in this trim tool also so many options are coming. Two are very important. Okay, let's see what the first option does. I'm choosing this one, first option, trim. Okay, so suppose if you want this line, okay, this complete line. Okay, but suppose you change your mind and you want to remove this part of the line. Okay, you want only this line, you want to remove this part of the line, so you click this line. Okay, and now you select, you move your mouse up to where you want the line. Okay, and click again. So this portion of the line is created. If this is difficult for you, then there is a simpler option for trimming. Okay, I am pressing Ctrl Z. This was my previous figure, original figure. Now I am choosing here this option. This is called quick trim. What quick trim does is whatever portion you want to trim, just click on it. Okay, I clicked on it, I choose again the trim option. I click this, it got trimmed. I choose again the trim option, click this, it got trimmed. So whatever the part of the profile you want to trim, just click the trim tool and just press the part whichever you want to trim. Okay, like this. This is useful when you want to remove a certain specific part of your profile. So this was the trim tool. Okay, now let's see the next tool next to the trim tool. Okay, so here it is, first is mirror, then symmetry. Okay, let's go one by one. So first we are understanding mirror, how to mirror things. Okay, now let's suppose I have drawn a circle here. Okay, this circle here, I have drawn a circle here on the screen. Now what I am doing is I am choosing this axis, a reference axis here. Now what I want is I want this circle mirrored about this axis in this side. Okay, exact the same circle I want here, this side. So what I can do is I can select this circle. Okay, I can choose this mirror option, mirror. Okay, and from where I want to mirror this, about which thing I want to mirror this, I want to mirror this circle about this axis. So click on this axis and the circle will be mirrored. Okay, it is very simple. I am dragging this above by pressing the scroll button. Now I want these two circles to be mirrored about another axis which I am going to draw now. Okay, I want these two circles to be mirrored about this axis. So what I can do is I can press this circle, hold the control key and select this circle, and I can choose this mirror option here, mirror. Okay, about which axis I want to mirror, about this axis. So click on this axis, so this circles will be mirrored down the axis. Okay, so in this way you can use the mirror option. Let me clear the screen. Now what if you want to mirror but you want to delete the original and you want to keep only the mirrored part? So for that this option is there, symmetry. Okay, let's see. I suppose again draw a circle. Okay, I draw a reference line. Okay, I want to mirror this circle about this line, but I want to delete this circle. I just want to keep my mirrored circle. So I can choose this circle, I can choose this symmetry option. Okay, and I can select this axis. So this circle is symmetrical about this axis, but the original circle is deleted now. So for this command, for this tool, you can use the symmetry option. Okay, if you want to do this, in this is translate is nothing but if you want to move things, this is rotate, which I already told you by mouse. Scale is nothing but if you want to change the scale of the, if you want to make it bigger or smaller. Offset is important. Okay, let's see what this offset option does. Suppose you created a line. Okay, suppose you created a line like this. Now you want to move this line upward or downward, or if you want to offset it at a distance, so you can just select this offset tool. Now see, a dotted blue line is coming, so you can offset this line wherever you want, at how much distance you want. You can again change the distance as per your required value. Suppose I am giving this to 50. Okay, so this line is offset 50. Okay, so by this offset tool. So this was the important function of the offset tool. Okay, so these features are all important while drawing any sketch for a part. Okay, this thing, and this thing. So try to practice sketching by drawing any desired profile which comes to your mind by using all these tools, and you will get familiar with all these tools very quickly. Okay, now let's clear this window. So there is one more important thing which I need to talk about. It's called the fully defined constraint. Okay, what it means is, like, suppose you have drawn a rectangle here. You have drawn a rectangle here. Okay, a corner rectangle. Now see, this corner rectangle is now not defined. Because why? Because this side and this side is not fixed. Why? Because we have not defined the value, how big it is, what is the size of this thing. So you can move the rectangle wherever you want. Okay, like this. It is not fixed, the size is not fixed. So what you have to do to constrain this rectangle, you have to provide the size, okay, of the rectangle. For that you have to click on constraint, and you have to give this side as something whatever you want, like 50, this thing. Okay, and you want to constraint, again click on constraint, and you want to give the length of this rectangle. Suppose I want it 100. Now see, this whole figure is green colored. Okay, every side is green colored. This means that this rectangle is fully defined, and now whatever you do to move the rectangle, it can't be moved. Okay, so before creating any part, you have to make sure that your sketch is fully defined. Okay, the sketch is green colored. Now see, if I have created a circle like this. Okay, so what I have to do to fully define the circle? First of all, you have to provide the size of the circle. What is the radius? So for that I am giving the constraint and clicking the circle, and I am telling its diameter to be 50 mm. Okay, now see, even after giving the size of this circle, the diameter 50, this circle is not green. What does it mean? It means that it is not fully defined. Why? Because see, you can also move, you can still move this circle wherever you want in the screen. It is not fixed. So what you have to do to fix this circle, you have to define this circle with respect to a fixed point. And we know that origin is always fixed in this plane. So we can define this circle with respect to this origin. For that, what I am doing is I am clicking this constraint button, and I am selecting this center of the circle and this origin. Okay, now you can see the distance between these two centers. Okay, these 2 points. So I want to give the horizontal distance between these 2 points. So I am doing what? I am clicking the right click button, and I am selecting horizontal measure distance, measure direction. So it gives the horizontal direction. Now I am setting the horizontal direction. Suppose I want it to be 100 mm. Click 100 mm. Okay, it is now also not green colored, means it is not fully defined. Why? Because I can move this up and down. Okay, it is not constrained in a y direction. What I'm going to do, I'm going to click on the constraint tool, and I'm going to select this center of the circle and this origin, and I'm going to right click, and I'm going to give a vertical measure direction. So I'm giving this vertical measure direction as suppose 50. Okay, so now see, this circle is green colored, means it is fully defined. Fully defined means you can't move this circle anymore. Okay, this is completely defined in this plane. So this is an important concept, and if you want to do a part modeling, first of all you have to ensure that your sketch is fully defined, because it will not get you in trouble in the later stages of part modeling. Okay, so now let's see different types of constraints first. Okay, now let's first see the constraint coincidence. What coincidence means is, let me show you. Okay, suppose I'm choosing a line like this, and I'm choosing another line like this, okay. Now what I want is, I want this line, okay, to be coincident on this line. So what I can do is, I can click on this point, and I can place the control button and also click on this line, and I am going to choose this thing, constraints defined in dialog box. Click on this. Now you can see various types of constraints which can perform on the selected entities. So I'm going to choose, click on this coincident. So see, this line is coincident on this line. Click OK. So like this you can use the coincident constraint. Okay, the other constraint is coincentricity. Let's see how it works. Suppose this is the circle and this is another circle like this. Now what you want is, you want these two circles to be concentric, that is, they should have the same center. So what I'm doing is, I'm selecting both the circles, I'm pressing on this tool, and I'm selecting coincidence, or no, sorry, coincentricity. Okay, because I want their centers to be same, and click on OK. See, these circles are now concentric. Another constraint is tangency. Tangency, suppose I have drawn a line like this. Okay, now what I want is, I want this line to be tangent to this circle. So I'm selecting this line and this line, and I'm clicking on this constraint dialog box, and I'm clicking this tangency button. This line is tangent to this circle. Click OK. Now another thing is parallel. Parallel thing, like you can do one line, okay, and draw another line like this, but you want these two lines to be parallel. Select these two lines, click on the constraint dialog box, and you can select here parallelism. Okay, click on this thing, these two lines will be parallel. Okay, now another thing is perpendicularity, which is like the same thing which can be done by lines. Like a line is like this, another line is like this. Okay, click on these two lines, this line and this line, and click on this constraint dialog box and click perpendicular. So these two lines will be perpendicular. Okay, so in this way you can use various constraints by choosing this constraint dialog box. Okay, now you can also have more than one constraints. So whatever constraints you want, just click on it and press OK. First you have to select what figure you have to constrain. Okay, what sketch you have to constrain. So this is the constraint definition in dialog box. Okay, now I'm going to clear the screen. Okay, but first of all I'm going to tell you one more less important thing. Let's see, suppose I want to do a isometric view. So what I can do is, I can choose this tool. Okay, click on this, it will be coming in isometric view. Now see, this is a 3D compass. Now what a 3D compass does is, suppose I told you how to drag, okay, how to drag this and how to rotate this and how to zoom in or zoom out this. Okay, so you can also use this 3D compass to rotate. Like suppose this thing, if you want to rotate about Z axis, click here and move your mouse, so it will be rotated around Z axis. Okay, if you want to drag along X axis, so you can click on this X axis and you move your mouse, so you can drag this in X axis, drag this in Y axis, you can drag this in Z axis. Okay, rotate this in X, Y. So you can use this 3D compass to rotate or drag. Okay, so this is how 3D compass also can be used, but I will suggest you to use mouse whenever you need to drag, rotate or zoom. Okay, and if you want normal, then you can just click this button, the sketch will come normal. Okay, so now let's move ahead and see how we can convert these sketches into parts. First of all, I'm gonna clear the sketches on my screen, selecting all and deleting it. Now let's see how we can create a part, okay, with a sketch. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna create a center rectangle on my screen. Okay, like this. And now I'm gonna exit my sketch. To exit the sketch, you have to click this button. Okay, this tool, exit sketch, exit workbench. Okay, so when you come out of the workbench or the sketch, it looks something like this. Okay, now what I want to do is, I want to extrude this rectangle into a cuboid to make it up as a part. So to extrude it or to pad it, you have to use the option pad. So this is my pad tool, which you can use to extrude the rectangle into a cuboid. Okay, so I'm going to use this pad option. So I'm gonna click on this pad. A pad definition dialog box will come like this. Okay, so now let's see what up to what length I'm gonna extrude it. So that you can type here. Okay, you can increase the length, or you can type any desired length what you want. Okay, if you want to see a preview of how it looks, you can click here, preview. Okay, so it looks something like this. Now if you want to get this part make this part, then you can click OK here. Okay, if you're sure that this is the part you want, then you can click OK. So I have turned the rectangle into a cuboid. It's a part now. Basically I've turned a 2D drawing into the 3D drawing. Okay, now let's see some more features of this pad. Okay, if I click on the drop down button, you can see pad. Okay, you can see here drafted filleted pad, and you can see multi-pad. We are mostly going to use the pad option only. Now let's see if I want to draw a cylinder on the top surface of this cuboid. So what I have to do is I have to click on this top surface to select the top surface. Now I'm going to click the sketch button here, the sketch option, this one. When I'm going to click the sketch option, it comes normal to that plane of the cuboid. Now I can draw a cylinder. For drawing a cylinder, what I have to do is I have to draw a circle and then extrude it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna draw a circle here like this, and I'm gonna exit this sketch again. Okay, clicking here. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm again using pad option. I'm using pad, and now I can give the length of the cylinder here. Suppose I want it to be 50 only. So I can click OK. If you want to see preview, you can click preview, and if you want to if you're final with your design, then you can see click OK. So like this, a cylinder is extruded on the cuboid. Okay, you can check this out by rotating the 3D object. Okay, by clicking, keep holding the right click button and scroll button together and moving your mouse. Okay, if you want to drag this, you can just click on the scrolling button, keep clicking it and move your mouse. And if you want to zoom in and zoom out, then keep clicking the scroll button. Just click the right click button of the mouse once and then move your mouse up and down to zoom in and zoom out. Okay, the same thing which I've told you earlier. So in this way you can create a 2D drawing into a 3D drawing. You can convert it. Okay, now let's see one more feature. Okay, suppose I want to create various sketches on this part of the design. Okay, this part of the cuboid. So I'm clicking this face. Okay, now I'm going to do a sketch on this face. So I'm clicking the sketch option, the sketch tool. Now okay, let me drag it to the center of the screen. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create some sketches here. I'm gonna create a circle like this. I'm gonna create a center rectangle like this. Okay, and also I'm gonna create a random profile here, something like this. Okay, any random profile. Okay, and I'm gonna create one ellipse here like this big. Okay, like this. Now let's use the multipad feature. Okay, so for using the multipad feature, let's first exit the sketch. Whenever you want to extrude or whenever you want to pad something, you have to exit the sketch. So click exit workbench. Okay, now if you want to do it in isometric view, you can click here. Okay, this is the isometric view, but we are going to sketch. We have sketched on the right side, on the bottom side of the figure. So we are going here. Okay, like this. I'm rotating it like this. Okay, so you can see better. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click on the drop down menu of pad, and I'm gonna select multi-pad feature like this. So in multi-pad feature, what you can do is you can give the length of extrusion of all the elements which you have, of all the sketches you have drawn at once. Like suppose if you have clicked on this one, so this thing is highlighted, this profile. If you want this to extrude or if you want this to pad, suppose 30 mm, so you can click on 30. Okay, now I'm clicking next, this one, this rectangle. So suppose I'm going to pad it 80 mm, so I'm going to click 80. Now this thing ellipse, I'm gonna pad it to 10 mm like this, and this circle I'm gonna pad to 60 mm. Okay. Now if you click preview, so see all the different profiles have been paired. Okay, and the length are all different which you have given here, so you can pad different profiles at the same time of different lengths by using the multi-pad feature. If you click OK, then it's done. Okay, so you are getting a part like this. Okay, so this is the pad and multi-pad feature, which will be the most common used tool by you if you want to draw any part. Also, whatever you have used the pad feature, whenever you have used the pad feature and whatever feature you have used, you can see on this you can see on this tree, branch tree. So this is my pad 1. Okay, this is my pad 2, this is multi-pad what I have used. And if you want to delete, you can just right click and click delete. Okay, and you can click on OK, or you can just select this and press the delete button on your keyboard. It will delete the pad feature or any feature which you want. So now let's move to the other feature, which is the pocket feature or pocket tool. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click on this surface, I'm gonna sketch on this surface, and I'm gonna create a circular profile on this surface like this. Okay, now I'm gonna exit the sketch, and now I'm using the pocket feature. So pocket is the opposite of pad. Pad is what creating something, adding the material. Okay, pocket is what removing the material. So if I select this pocket feature, what it does is it removes the element in a cylindrical form. So I have drawn a circle to remove the element in a cylindrical form. So now if you want to remove the element for about so let's say 40 mm, the depth is 40 mm. Okay, so now you can click on preview like this, and you can click on OK now. So it removed the element like this pocket feature. So in order to remove material, in order to remove something, in order to create a hole or something, you can use the pocket feature. And this multi-pocket feature is just the opposite of multi-pad feature actually. Okay, now let's delete this pocket feature, or delete it. Pad and pocket are the most important features and the most common features which you will be using. Okay, let's delete this pad also. Okay, sorry, not paste, delete. Okay, now let's see another feature. This is called shaft feature. For shaft feature, I am again going to sketch something on XY plane. Okay, so let's suppose I am sketching a rectangle like this. Okay, you can also give the constraints, give the dimensions. I am just not doing it for your, like, it's just example to show you. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna exit my sketch. Okay, and I'm gonna click the isometric view here so you can see better. And now I'm gonna use this shaft feature, shaft. Okay, in shaft feature you have to select some profile, selection sketch 5. So this sketch is already selected, so it's okay. Now shaft feature, what it does is it does the pad function but in a rotation manner. You will see, like see, you have to select an axis. So suppose I am selecting this axis. So what it does is it produces a material, it adds material in a circular manner. Okay, we have done the rotation about this axis and adding the material. You can also not do the complete 360-degree rotation. You can also adjust the degree of rotation like this. Okay, like this. Or if you want to make a cylinder, you can just keep 360-degree and you can preview it. Okay, so the rectangle has now become a cylinder because we have rotated the rectangle about one of its axis. You can click OK, and this will be a cylinder now. So shaft feature is like making a circular objects or any profile which you have to rotate about the axis. So suppose you want to make a bearing, okay, ball bearing. So let's see how you can do that. First of all, I'm gonna delete this. Okay, now I'm gonna again go to sketch, select any plane, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a circle, and I'm gonna divide this circle into two, and then I'm gonna trim this upper part of the circle. So this is a semicircle. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna exit the sketch, and I'm gonna use the shaft feature. Okay, 360-degree sketch is selected, which axis about this axis. So you will see it creates a ball bearing or a bearing or a circular ball type object. So like this feature is used. Okay, this groove is basically the opposite of shaft. Let's see how. Let's delete this. Okay, let me again create a sketch for you. Okay, suppose I have created a cylinder only. Let's do a simple sketch only. I am creating a cylinder, exiting using the pad feature. Okay, the length should be let's say 40. Let's preview it. Okay, one more thing is there. You can, if you don't want the cylinder to be in this direction, you want to be in the opposite direction, so you can choose reverse direction like this. And there is another option, more. Click on more. So what you can do is you can also extrude, you can also pad on this direction and this direction, both the dimensions. So suppose you are giving some length here like 50. Okay, so in the opposite direction it's 50, and in this direction it's 40 or 43 or 53. Okay, you can click on preview, you can click on OK. So this is basically your cylinder. Now let's check this in isometric view. Okay, now what I'm doing is I am selecting a plane here. Let's say I'm selecting this plane, YZ plane. Okay, I'm going normal to that plane, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to sketch on that plane. I have selected the YZ plane, and I'm going to click on the sketch button. Now I'm going to create a rectangle here, uh, like this, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to exit the sketch, and I'm going to use this groove feature. Clicking on groove, I have selected the sketch. Okay, sketch is selected, sketch it, this one, and I am going to select an axis now. I am selecting this middle axis. Okay, and clicking preview and OK. So it removes material in a rotation. Okay, 360-degree. If you don't want 360-degree, you can give the angle of your specific value if it's a specific requirement. So this is the groove feature. Okay, now let's move to another tool. First of all, I'm gonna delete this. Okay, delete. Okay, now let's draw another sketch on XY plane. I'm gonna draw a slab or a rectangle. I'm gonna choose center point rectangle. This is my center point rectangle. I'm gonna exit the sketch, and I'm gonna click on pad, and I'm gonna extrude it, let's say 50. Let's preview it. Yeah, this is okay. Okay, so this is my slab. Okay, now let's see what this hole feature does. I'm gonna click on hole, and I'm gonna click on this surface. Hole, basically, as the name suggests, it will create a hole. So where you want to create a hole on this surface, so I clicked on this surface. But if you want to create a hole on a specific point in this surface, then you have to choose this thing, positioning sketch. Click on this thing. Now you can basically position wherever you want your sketch. Okay, wherever you want your hole. So now if you want to, suppose, like, give a specific constraint to the hole, So you can click on constraint and then give this constraint with reference to the axis. Let's say horizontal measure distance. So I'm gonna keep it 100 mm, and then again constraint origin, but this time I'm gonna give it vertical measure distance. Let's say 50. Okay, now I'm gonna exit the sketch. So now this location is selected for making the hole. Okay, this location. Now here you can choose the type of like extension. So blind means you have to give the diameter and you can give the depth of the hole. Okay, how deep it should be. You can also give the diameter. Okay, see it's increasing. Up to next means up to next surface the hole will be created. Up to last means up to last surface the hole will be created. So let's say I want to create the hole up to last. Okay, up to last surface. I have to choose the up to last surface. You can't give the depth option because it's up to last. And then I'm gonna click on preview. Okay, and then I'm gonna click on OK. So see, a hole is created up to the last surface. Last surface is this one. So in this way you can easily create a hole. So for that thing the whole option is used. Or if you don't want to use the whole option, you can also use the pocket feature. For using the pocket feature, all you have to do is you have to create a circle and then click on this pocket feature and then give the depth as up to last surface, this surface. Okay, it's that simple. Now let's move on to the next one. Let me delete this. Delete. Okay, right click, delete, and okay. Okay, so now let's move on to the next tool, that is the rip tool. Okay, for rip tool I'm gonna create a sketch first. I'm selecting YZ plane, clicking on sketch, and I'm gonna create a center point rectangle here like this. I'm gonna exit the sketch and then I'm gonna pad it 50 mm. Let's preview. Yeah, it's okay. Clicking OK. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a geometry in this plane. So I'm selecting the plane, clicking sketch, and I'm gonna create a eye section here like this. So I'm just creating the half portion of the eye section, and now I'm gonna create a reference line here. Now I'm just gonna mirror this half eye section. Okay, let's mirror it about this axis like this. Now I'm gonna exit the sketch. Now I'm gonna draw a profile perpendicular to this plane or perpendicular to this sketch. So for drawing that profile, I have to choose a perpendicular plane to this plane. So that plane could be this one, ZX plane. So I'm selecting ZX plane and I'm clicking on sketch. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a profile. I'm gonna create a spline profile like this. Okay, this is fine. Now I'm gonna exit the sketch. So this looks something like this. Now what this rip feature does is this rip feature will extrude this profile in a direction of this profile. So let's click on this rip feature. Now which profile I have to extrude? I have to select that. So I'm gonna extrude this profile, and center curve, about which curve I have to extrude or pad, about this curve. Okay, so let's preview it. So you can get a shape something like this. This is used by the rip feature. Okay, so you can create something like this by using the rip feature. Okay, now let's move on to the slot feature. The slot feature is just the opposite of rip's feature. The rip feature adds is used to add a material, and the slot feature is used to remove a material. So suppose I draw a profile on this plane. I'm clicking on sketch, and I'm gonna draw a rectangle here, center point rectangle, like this. And what I'm gonna do is now I'm gonna exit the sketch and draw a profile perpendicular to this plane. Okay, so I'm going to draw a profile perpendicular to this plane, so I can choose this one, YZ plane, clicking on sketch, and I'm gonna draw a profile here, a spline, something like this. Okay, now I'm gonna exit the sketch. Now one more important thing is that this guiding curve doesn't has always to be passed through the profile which you have created. This just shows the direction in which we have to remove the material. So it can be anywhere, but it should be at a plane perpendicular to the profile plane. Now I'm clicking the slot feature. I'm clicking the profile, and center curve or guiding curve is this. I'm clicking on preview and selecting OK. So see, the material has been removed in the guiding curve direction. Okay, in that spline curve direction, the material has been removed. So this feature is this thing can be done by the using of slot feature. Okay, so these were the important tools which you can which you will be using by while drawing a part in CATIA V5. And also these features will be the most common features which will be helpful for you to draw any part. You can draw any part just by using these features. One more small thing is that I have to show you this use of these features also, these tools also. These small tools are like edge fillet and chamfer. These are very simple tools. Okay, so let's see these all tools also one by one. First of all, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna delete this rip feature and slot feature for simplifying the profile. Okay, and right click delete. Okay, and I'm gonna click on isometric view. Okay, I'm gonna bring it to center. Now let's see what is this. This is edge fillet. So it's very simple. Just click on edge fillet. Okay, click the edge which you want to do a fillet. Suppose I click this edge. Now you can select the radius of the fillet. Let's let it be 5 mm only. Let's preview it and let's click OK. See, this edge has been filleted. So it's just as simple as that. Like whichever edge you want to fillet, just click on that edge. Similar thing is in the case of chamfer. Chamfer is nothing but a fillet which is a straight line. This is a curve. Chamfer will be in a straight line. So let's chamfer this edge. Okay, this edge, let's chamfer it. So I'm selecting this edge and I'm increasing the length of the chamfer. Let's say it's 7 mm. Click on OK. So this length is 7 mm and this edge has been chamfered. So these are the small things, and there are various types of fillet also, but the most commonly used is the edge fillet only. You can try these all options. It's very simple. Just you have to click and check what it does. Okay, now another thing is draft angle. Okay, so for draft angle, let me draw another geometry for you. I'm gonna delete this fillets. Okay, and now I'm gonna do what is I'm gonna double click on this pad one and I'm gonna edit it. I'm gonna increase the pad value. I'm gonna do it 80 mm. Let's preview it and click OK. Okay, let's take it to the isometric view. So what this draft angle does is, let's click on this option first, and we have to first select faces to draft. Suppose I want to draft this face and this face. So click the faces which you want to draft, and angle of draft, by what angle you want to draft. Suppose I want to draft it by 10 degrees, 13 degrees. And neutral element, so neutral element about which you want to draft. So I'm going to draft it about this element. So this is my neutral element. So these two faces will draft 13 degrees about this fixed face. Okay, let's preview it and let's click OK. So like this, these two faces has been draft about this neutral face. So this feature is called as draft feature. Now let's move ahead. Let's delete this draft feature. Enter. And delete this pad also. Delete. Okay. Okay, so now let's move on to the next feature. For the next feature, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a rectangle, a sketch on a XY plane. I'm gonna choose a center point rectangle here, this big, and I'm gonna exit the sketch and then choosing pad, and I'm gonna pad it 50. Let's say 50. Okay, okay, let's do some more. Let's do it 80 and click OK. Now I'm gonna select this shell feature. So let's see what the shell feature does. I'm clicking on shell and I'm clicking on this face. Okay, and I'm gonna click OK. So see what shell feature does is shell feature removes the above face and make it as a shell. Okay, there is no solid here. It's a shell. It's empty, and the above surface has been removed. And this thickness is 1 mm, which you have set here in this shell feature 1 mm. You can also increase this thickness. Like let's do this to 5 mm. Click OK. So this thickness is 5 mm and this cuboid has become a shell. The top face has been removed. So this thing can be done by the shell feature. Okay, let's move on to the next tool, that is thickness. Thickness is nothing but very simple thing. Let's click on thickness, and if you want to increase the thickness of a particular face, select that face, and by how much value, if you want to increase the thickness by let's say 10 mm and click OK. So the thickness of this face will be increased by 10 mm. This thing can be done by the thickness feature. Okay, let's move ahead. Let's delete this thickness and this shell feature also. Click OK. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select this face and I'm gonna sketch on this face, and I'm gonna create a rectangular hole on this face like this, and then I'm gonna exit the sketch, and then I'm selecting the pocket feature and I'm gonna pocket the whole thing. So I'm gonna click OK. Okay, so it's like a hole. Now let's move on to the next tool, which is this one, remove face. Now remove face is like mostly used in finite element analysis. So when you want to simplify the geometry, so like it's a small hole here. If you want to remove this hole, okay, so you can select this remove face, and you can select the faces which you want to remove from the geometry to make it a simple geometry which can be used for finite element analysis easily. So I've selected all the face here which I want to remove, and I'm gonna click OK. So this face has been removed, or the hole has been removed. So this thing will not generally be in use to make parts, but if you want to make a part especially for finite element analysis, so this feature will be mostly used then. Okay, now let's move ahead. I'm gonna draw a sketch here on this plane. Sketch. I'm gonna create a L shape profile here. Okay, I'm gonna exit it. I'm gonna pad it. I'm gonna mirror it, and I'm gonna keep it at 20 mm. Click OK. Now I'm gonna draw another profile here on this plane, YZ plane. Clicking sketch, and I'm gonna draw a line here. Okay, I'm clicking exit. Now I'm gonna use this feature solid combine, and I'm gonna use a stiffener here. Clicking on stiffener. Now see, selection, this line is selected here. Sketch 4 is this line. So what it does is it adds material. It basically stiffens this L shape by adding material. That's why it's called a stiffener. Now how much thick you want this to be done, which you can set it from here. Thickness is 1 mm, so you can increase it. I'm gonna keep it to 10 mm, let's say. So it adds material in this way, which stiffens this L shape. Click OK. So like this, the stiffener option can be used. Okay, let's delete it. Okay, I'm deleting the pad option also. Okay, so now let's move ahead and see some more tools. We have covered the important ones from this one, the important ones from this one. Now let's cover the important ones from this side also. So first of all, I'm gonna choose this one, translation. Okay, translation command. So click on translation command. As the name suggests, what you want to do is you want to translate some object or some profile by some quantity. So you have to choose this translation tool. So do you really want to keep the translation specification? Click yes. Now suppose you want to translate this thing. Okay, so about which direction you have to choose first. Here the option for direction is coming. So I want to move it around about this direction. Okay, so about how much distance you want to move it. So let's say I'm gonna move it to 50 mm. Click OK. So this thing has been moved 50 mm in this direction. It's as simple as that, the translation command. Now let's see another thing. The another one is rotation. Click on rotation. Yes, click yes. Axis, about which axis you want to rotate. So suppose I want to rotate about say let's say this axis, this edge, and about how much degree I want it to rotate by 90 degree. Click OK. So see, this thing has been rotated about this edge about 90 degree. Okay, the now third one is symmetry. Symmetry is also a simple thing. Let's do one thing. First of all, what we want to do is we want to create a sketch on this face. So let's select a sketch and click on this face. Let's zoom out a bit. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a circle here, and I'm gonna exit the sketch. I'm gonna pad this circle into a cylinder. 80 mm is fine. Click OK. Now I'm gonna use this symmetry feature. Okay, I'm clicking on symmetry. Click yes, and I'm gonna symmetry this cylinder about this plane. Okay, this side. So let's see. I'm gonna choose a reference. So I'm gonna choose this plane as reference. So this cylinder has become a symmetry about this plane, so it comes this side. Click OK. So this cylinder has moved from here to here. But what if you want to keep this side cylinder also? So then an option of mirror is there for you. Okay, let's undo it. Control Z. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna choose mirror instead of symmetry. So I have chosen mirror. And which thing I want to mirror? This thing. Okay, mirroring element I have to choose. So I have chosen this pad as mirroring element. Okay, mirroring element I have to choose about which thing you want to mirror. So I want to mirror it about this plane. So I'm clicking this plane and clicking OK. See, a mirror cylinder has been created. So this thing can be done by using the mirror feature. Okay, now let's control Z it, undo it. Okay, let's go back to isometric view. Now let's see another feature, that is this one. This is rectangular pattern. Two patterns here are important: a circular pattern, rectangular pattern. So first of all, we are going to see what a rectangular pattern does. So for a rectangular pattern, again I am going to draw a profile on this face. I am going to draw a circle again, and I'm going to exit the sketch. and then I'm gonna pad it. 80 mm is fine. Click OK. Okay, so now I'm gonna use rectangular pattern on this cylinder. So I'm gonna choose this pad option here, which is the pad of this cylinder, and I'm gonna choose rectangular pattern here. So these two, there are two things: instances and spacing. Instances means how many patterns you want to make, how many cylinders you want to be patterned, and spacing means the space between the two cylinders. So first of all, you have to select a reference element about which direction you want to make a pattern. So let's say I'm gonna make a pattern about this direction. It's coming towards the right, so you can reverse it. It's coming towards the left. Okay. Now I'm gonna increase the spacing. I'm gonna do it to 40 mm. Let's preview it. Yeah, it's okay. And I'm gonna increase the instances to 5. And I'm gonna click preview. And I'm gonna click OK. So you have drawn only one cylinder and you have made the pattern up to 5 cylinders like this easily. So this thing can be easily done by the rectangular pattern feature. Okay, let's move ahead and now see what the circular pattern feature does. First of all, I'm going to delete this rectangular pattern feature. Delete. Okay. And delete. Okay. And I'm going to delete this pad also. Pocket, pad, all things. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a circular profile on this XY plane. Clicking on sketch. Creating a center point circle. Okay, I'm going to make it a little big. Exiting the sketch. Clicking pad. 50 mm is fine. Click OK. Now I'm going to sketch on the top surface. And I'm going to create another circle here. I'm going to exit the sketch and clicking pad. I'm going to create a cylinder of 50 mm is fine. Okay. Now I'm going to use circular pattern and I'm going to make a circular pattern of this cylinder on this face. Okay. So reference element, just reference element, you can choose this face. So the revolution will be done along the axis of this circular plane. So instances means how many cylinders you want. Suppose I want 8 cylinders of 45° each. I'm gonna click preview. Okay, and I'm gonna click OK. So in this way you can easily make a circular pattern. Okay, you can also adjust the angle between these two and number of instances, whatever you want. Let's move ahead. Let's see this feature. This is a scaling feature. Scaling, as the name suggests, if you want to make a bigger size or you want to scale bigger, or if you want to scale smaller, then you can use this scaling feature. Okay, so click on scale feature. Now suppose I want to scale this whole thing or make it bigger, this whole thing. So what I'm gonna do is, first of all, reference, I'm gonna make it bigger about this plane, about this surface, about how much ratio. Suppose I want to do it double. So let's see how it's increasing. I want to make it 5 times bigger. So ratio is 5. Click OK. So this whole thing has become 5 times bigger now, like this. So this is the scaling feature. So till now I have almost shown you all the important features or tools which you are going to use to make a part from this, and this. These things are all sufficient to make up any part which you want. Now what we are going to do next is we are going to look how assembly can be done. Okay, how we can assemble parts and make it a complete assembly. So let's move ahead. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this from here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an assembly. So for creating assembly, first of all you have to open mechanical design and assembly design. Okay, then now the interface has been completely loaded. So let's see what is this: component, product, part, existing component. Okay, existing component without positioning. So first of all, for doing assembly, what you have to do, you have to first insert the parts which you want to assemble. So for inserting the parts, two options you have. You have existing parts, okay, in existing component, and existing component with positioning. So let's first import an existing component using this feature, existing component. Okay, so I'm clicking existing component, and existing component, after clicking this, you have to select where you want to place the component. So I'm going to place the component here in product 2. So let's click here in product. Now I already created some parts in CATIA only, so I'm just going to import that. So I'm going to import this part 1 and part 2 and part 3, part 4. You can import this one by one, or you can import all at once. So I'm gonna import this first part only now. I'm clicking on first part 1 and I'm gonna open it. So this is my part 1. It's a rectangular slab. So now see, I have imported the part using existing component. Now what is the drawback of this feature? This feature drawback is this: after importing the part, you can't move it. Okay, you can't place it at your desired location. But what if I import this using existing component with positioning feature? So let's see. So I'm gonna just undo it, and now I'm gonna import the same part using existing component with positioning feature. So I'm gonna click here where I want to import in product. So I'm clicking here. Now I'm importing part 1. Open. Here, see the difference. Here a window is coming for smart move. Okay, let it load. Okay, so this is my smart move window. Here what you can do is, here you can click on this slab or this part, and you can move it along wherever you want. Okay, so you can place this rectangular slab, or you can place this part on the screen in a position as you want by using this feature, which is existing component with positioning feature, as the name suggests. So now I'm gonna just keep it here and select OK. So in this way I've imported my part 1. Now I'm gonna import my part 2. So again I'm clicking here existing components with positioning and clicking on product, and I'm gonna open part 2. So this is my part 2. Here also I am using a smart move to position my component. Okay, so I am just positioning it somewhere here. Okay, like this, and clicking OK. Now I'm gonna import this part 2 once again. So clicking on existing component, product, and then importing part 2, open. Okay, I'm gonna position it somewhere here like this, clicking OK. Now see, when doing assembly, what you have to do is you have to constrain some parts, or you have to move some parts. It means you have to join the parts together. So you have to, for joining, you have to give some constraints. And if you want to move the parts, then see how you can do it. Here, two important tools, remember: existing component and existing component with positioning. This is used to import the part. Now these tools are used to move the part. Okay, these tools, let's drag it here. See, here it is written move. So these tools are used to move the parts. Now let's see the first tool. The first tool is manipulation. Let's click on it. Okay, after clicking manipulation, what you are seeing is a window. So manipulation means you can move, you can drag, you can rotate the part by using this window. Suppose you want to drag along x-axis, you have to click this. Now you have to select the part which you want to drag. So this part now will be only dragged along the x-axis. Okay, if you want to drag along y, you can choose y. This part will be dragged along y-axis, and if you choose z, then this part will be dragged along z-axis. Okay, and what is this thing? This thing is drag along any axis. So after choosing this, you have to select an axis. Suppose I select this as my axis, so I can drag the part along this axis like this. Similarly, if you want to move the part in a plane, so you can click on this plane and you can move the part on xy plane. Similarly, yz plane, and similarly xz plane. And this is used to drag along any plane. So after clicking this, you have to choose a plane. Suppose I want to move this part along this plane. So I have clicked on this plane, and now I can move it around the plane which I have clicked. And if you want to rotate it along x-axis, so you can rotate it also about x-axis like this. If you want to rotate it along y-axis, then you can rotate it about y-axis like this. And similarly for z-axis. And if you want to drag rotate around any particular axis, so you can choose that axis, and then you can rotate this about that axis like this. So this thing is called manipulation tool. It helps to drag, rotate and move the part across any plane. So I'm clicking cancel here. Okay, now what I want is I want to join this part, these two parts with this rectangular slab, this part 2 with part 1. So for joining, what I have to do, I have to make a contact between these two. So for contact another constraint tools, what you have to do is you have to use these features. See here it is given coincidence constraint, various constraints are here. Coincidence constraint, here it is contact constraint, here it is offset constraint, here it is angle constraint. So we are going to see this one by one. Let's first see this contact constraint, what it does. So contact constraint, as the name suggests, click close, as the name suggests, is used to make contact between two parts. Suppose I want this face and this face to be in contact. So I'm gonna click this face and I'm gonna click this face. Okay, now a contact constraints had been created between these two. And if you want to update it, you have to update it like update all. You have to click here and it will be in contact now. See, it's in contact. And now what if you want to move this around, so you can click on this, you can use manipulation tool and you can drag along whatever you want axis, y axis. So you can move it here and you can move it along z axis also like this, but you can't move it along x axis because x axis is constrained now, it is in contact, so you can't move along here in the x direction. Okay, so click OK. Similarly, I want to contact this thing also. So first I'm gonna move it along x axis so I can see the face. Okay, click OK. Now I'm gonna constrain it using the contact constraint. Click close, click do not prompt in the future. Okay, so I'm gonna constrain this face with this face, contact constraint, and clicking on update. Okay, so this is looking something like this. I want to get normal view to this plane, so I can use normal, or you can choose the front plane, front view, like this. Okay, okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna insert another component here. Okay, but before inserting another component, what I want to do is I want to fix these locations of this part 2. So for that, now I can move it along z axis and y axis, but I want to fix this, so I have to give a distance from something. Okay, so for that thing, if you want to give a distance of a part from another part, you have to select offset feature or offset tool, which can be selected from here, offset constraint. Okay, so I'm clicking this. Now what I want is I want to select this face and this face, and I want the distance between two faces, let's say 20. Okay, 20 mm. Click OK and click update here. Okay, so now this face is at a distance of 20 mm from this face. Okay, similarly I want to constrain this side also, so I'm clicking here offset constraint and I'm clicking this face and giving the distance as 20 or minus 20 and click OK. Okay, now I want to constrain in z axis also, so I have to give offset feature on this face and this face, and I'm gonna give it as 25. Click OK and click update. Okay, and I'm gonna give this one also 25. So let's say offset this face and this face. Okay, instead of 25 I'm gonna give it 30. Okay, click OK and click update. I am gonna change this one also to 30, so double click it, you can edit it, giving 30. Okay, and click update. And whatever you are doing, you can see here constraints, surface constraint, contact, surface contact, offset. So you can edit anything by double clicking this thing. Okay, and you can edit the value. Click OK. So I am moving back towards the front view like this. So till now we have covered this contact constraint and offset constraint. Contact constraint is used to make contact between two faces or two parts, and offset constraint is used to give a distance, particular distance of a part from another part. Okay, now let's import another part. So for that I'm using this existing component with positioning, and now I'm going to import part 3. Open. Okay, so now let's move it a little here. Okay, click OK. So now what I'm gonna do is, first of all, I'm gonna use manipulation tool, and I'm gonna bring it forward and a little up like this. Okay, this is good. Click OK. Now what I want is, I want this cylinder to be inside this hole. So for that, what I have to do, I have to coincide this cylinder's axis with this hole's axis. So for that, this constraint is used. It is called coincidence constraint. Click on this and click on this axis and click on the holes axis. Okay, so this coincidence constraint has been created. Now click update. So see, this cylinder is now inside this hole. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is, first of all, I'm gonna click on front view. Now what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna manipulate this cylinder in Y direction, something about this. Okay, and clicking OK. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna insert another part, product 1, and I'm gonna insert part 4. Click open. Okay, so my part is here, so I can use manipulate. Okay, x-axis, let's bring it forward. Y-axis, okay, and z-axis somewhat around here. Okay, this is okay. So now what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna constrain this. Okay, but first of all, what we forgot is, we have forgot to constrain this cylinder. Okay, see, we can manipulate this along y-axis. Okay, so we have to fix this first. So for fixing this, I can give offset constraint. I'm clicking on offset constraint, and I can give the offset constraint on this face and this face for a distance of, let's say, 10 mm, and click OK. So now it is fixed. Okay, and also one more thing I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna use manipulation on this cylinder, and I'm gonna rotate this about the cylinder axis somewhat like this. Okay, just for better understanding of the assembly. Click OK. So now let's it's time to fix this part 4. So for part 4, what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna first use the contact constraint, and I'm gonna contact this face with this face. Okay, so just you can click on update. Okay, and now I'm gonna move it a little bit using manipulation tool, so along Z direction and along Y, somewhat around here. Okay, yeah, this is fine. So now I have to fix this also, so I'm using offset constraint again, and I'm giving the direction or distance from this and this face to be, let's say, 10. Click OK, and I'm gonna use again the offset constraint, and I'm gonna give the distance between this face and this face to restrict its Y direction movement. I'm gonna give it 35. Click OK. Okay, let's see the front view. Okay, so now my assembly is completed. You can see what I made is, I have made a door latch here. Okay, so this is the final assembly. So what we have used here is, we have used this contact constraint, okay, this coincidence constraint, contact constraint, and offset constraint. Okay, so where we have used this coincidence constraint we have used to coincide the axis of this cylinder with the axis of the whole cylinder. Okay, this whole cylinder. So for that we have used coincidence constraint. Contact constraint is used to give a contact between two surfaces, okay, to join these two surfaces. And offset constraint is used to give a distance between two faces or two surfaces or two parts, okay. If you want to constrain any part at a particular distance from another part, then you have to use offset constraint. Now let's move ahead and let's see what this angle constraint does, okay. So for seeing this angle constraint, okay, let me clear the screen first. So I'm gonna delete this part 3. Yes, I'm gonna delete this part 2 also. Right click, delete. Okay, and this one also. Right click, delete. Okay, and also I'm gonna delete the constraint for this part 4. So I'm gonna delete the surface contact constraint first and delete. Okay, so now let's see if we can manipulate this now. Around x-axis. Yes, we can easily manipulate it because I've deleted the contact constraint. Okay, now instead of giving contact constraint, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give an angle constraint here. Okay, let's bring it a little close. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this angle constraint for this face and this face. Okay, and I'm going to keep the angle as, let's say, 60 degree. Click OK. Okay, and now let's update and see what happens. Okay, so I'm clicking on update. So see, let's bring it a little closer so you can easily see what I'm trying to show you. Okay, click OK, and let's move to isometric view. Okay, see, this face is at angle of 60 degree with this face. Okay, see, this face and this face are at an angle of 60 degree. So why this thing is used angle constraint? To give the angle between two surfaces or two planes. Okay, you can give any angle what you want. Okay, now let's move ahead, and first of all let's undo it and let's get back to the final assembly. All right, now let's see, we have finished this coincidence, contact, offset, angle. Now let's move ahead with this thing, move tools. We have done manipulation. Okay, so now we will see about this snap tool. So for that I'm gonna create another assembly design, and then I'm gonna import part in product, part 5, open, and click OK, and I'm gonna insert the same part again, product, part 5, open, and let's click OK. So now what I want is I want this part to be on the top of this part, and these holes should coincide. So traditionally what I can do is I can first use the manipulation tool and move it a little bit here above like this, and now I can use this coincide constraint tool to coincide this axis. Okay, click update, and then I will use this contact constraint to make a contact between these two surfaces. Click update. So in this way I can do my job done. Okay, I can perform my job. But the another and the easiest way to do this is with the help of a snap tool. Now let's see what a snap tool does. First of all, let's delete these constraints, delete and delete. So now let me get to the isometric view and let me move this a little bit top. Okay, so I am gonna use a snap tool now. So snap tool is a combination of coincidence constraint and contact constraint. So instead of using these two constraints, what I can do is I can use a snap constraint at once. Okay, Let me move this a little bit in y direction also so you can see better. Okay, so now let's see. I'm gonna use this snap tool, clicking on snap, so I can choose this axis and this axis. Okay, see, it becomes coincidence. Okay, the axis has become coincidence. Click anywhere else and then click again this snap tool and choose this face and this face. See, this has become a contact constraint. Okay, so in this way I have both used coincidence and contact at once by using the snap tool. So snap tool is just a faster way to use this coincidence and contact constraint. Okay, so in this way I have covered this manipulation and snap tool, which are the important ones, and here we have discussed about coincidence, contact, offset, angle constraint. Okay, so using these tools you can create almost any assembly what you want and as you want. Okay, and whatever parts I have used in this tutorial, I will give you a Google Drive link in my description so you can download it and you can practice yourself. And so I have discussed almost about all the things which I want to discuss in this CATIA tutorial. First we have started with the part design, and for part design we have studied about sketching, and then we move on to assembly. So using this information which I provided in this tutorial, you can almost create any part and assemble any part of your required choice. Okay, and one more thing, there are multiple windows you can open in CATIA. So you can minimize this window from here, and you can open this another window from here. Okay, like this. So you can make multiple parts and multiple assemblies at one time. Okay, and I would like to suggest you guys that practice as much as you can and try to make parts like whatever you see in your real life, whatever it is surrounding you, try to make it in CATIA and try to assemble these things. This is the good way to practice parts and practice this CATIA software. Okay, so that's all for this video, and if you have learned something, then please like my video and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.